So now next up is Gail Summerhill, Ypsilanti community activist, founder of Ypsi Can I Share.
I wanted to speak first for that 1 minute, and then
So you don't want your PowerPoint up yet?
no, not yet. Just I wanted to say something first.
All right, then you have the floor. Go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. The first thing that I'd like to do is honor my sister's friend who died in 9/11. And so I would like everyone just to take 30 seconds so that we may have a word of silence on behalf of Daria and everyone else who passed away during that time, because many people left too soon, but the love for those who passed away, it's still a reminder every 9/11. So if you would take up 30 seconds, please. Okay, thank you. Eli, I'm ready now for the slides.
Slides.
Thank you.
Let me get them, just a second. Okay. Okay, this is the slideshow. So this is the first slide, I believe. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. And do you want me just to advance through the slides, or do you want to?
Just show the slides. That's fine.
Okay, those
Okay.
are the. Is there another visual I should show?
No, now we're going to go into the presentation, and we'll start with Jeanette Hatton.
Okay, give me a second.
Excuse me. Okay.
Hi, my name is Jeanette Hatton, and Hi, my name is Jeanette Hatton, and I am a lifelong community member from Ypsilanti, the city of Ypsilanti. And Gail, in one word, is amazing. Gail is the type of person that will find out any information you need to know. If she doesn't know it, she's going to find out what it is and get right back with you. Gail does this for folks in the community that cannot do it for themselves. She seeks out information and brings it to the forefront for folks that really don't have a clue. So that is why Gail is so important to this community. Without her, I don't think that we will be well informed at all.
Gail, would you like me to play the second video? Yes.
Greetings and good day. My name is Keir McElmore. I'm co-owner of Bottles and Backpacks Child Development Center. And I just want to take a few moments to express the value and the importance that Gail Summerhill, AKA whom I call Mama Gail Summerhill, is to the community of Ypsilanti, and really as a stakeholder to environments of individuals with great promise and high potential. So from the very first moment that I met Mama Gail, she was always looking to find ways of making sure that my organization and that me as an individual will be in the know of who the people are within the community of Ypsilanti, and also the needs of the people. And oddly enough, you know, just from dealing with my day-to-day interaction with, you know, the families that we serve, and looking for ways to empower you know, the individual households or the children that we support and cater to in the community. And with Ypsi being so small, we kind of ultimately end up knowing some of the same people and running into the same circles of individuals who truly have their roots planted in the soil of Ypsi, looking to make a great change and a great impact. The one innovative thing, if I can kind of chime in on, that I've really found value in and appreciated that Mama Gail has developed, which is a brainchild of hers, is the Ypsi Can I Share platform.
My name is Ellie Sabat, and I'm the Washtenaw County prosecutor. Gail Summerhill is a tireless advocate for underserved communities, particularly in Ypsilanti. She works tirelessly to empower communities that have historically been overlooked by politicians, by folks in power, and to connect those communities with resources. I am proud to call her my friend.
Who is Gail Summerhill? Gail Summerhill is a person of integrity, character, and one that is willing to stand up and fight for the underdog.
On behalf of Pastor Gregory Cannon Jr. and myself, First Lady Sharonda Cannon, we would like to let you know that we are for Gail Summerhill. We thank God for you and the things that you are doing for us and for the community. Go in God's speed, and God bless you.
Hi, I'm Rick Michaels, and when Gail Summerhill calls me, I drop what I'm doing and devote my attention to her. If you're in elected office representing Ypsilanti or hope to be, you need to schedule time with Gail Summerhill. Gail is Ypsilanti's advocate.
Hello, my name is Trisha Duckworth. I'm the Executive Director of Survivor Speak and the lead consultant on Value Black Lives. When I think about Gail Summerhill and what she means to the community, Gail is a wealth of knowledge, a great resource to the community. Gail is a great networker, someone that knows how to network and to connect. I guess you would call it the great connector, able to connect the community with people that hold the resources that the community needs. When I think about the information that Gail gives the community, it's information that people need to sustain their lives. So we're grateful for the impact of Gail Summerhill and Ypsi Can I Share and what that means to the community.
I'm Trudy Hughes, a volunteer with the League of Women Voters of Washtenaw County. Gail delivers information to people in our community who haven't received it. In her trademark kind and gentle way, Gail is able to hold difficult conversations and hold people accountable for their actions. Collaborating with Gail in some of her work has helped me to better recognize my own white privilege. And for that, I am forever grateful.
Greetings and good day. My name is Keir McElmore. I'm co-owner of Bottles and Backpacks Child Development Center.
1 second.
And I just want to take a few moments to
Okay, gotta turn that off.
Now just the first PowerPoint slide, please.
Okay. Nope, that's not it. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Nope.
It's okay.
Let's see, let me. All right, it should come up. Let's see. There we go.
Okay. Okay. It's just saying, Ypsi, can I share? Who is Gail Summerhill? Okay, we can close the PowerPoint and I'll begin my presentation. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I am Gail Summerhill. I have worked for many, many, many years in public servant positions within Washtenaw County. For those of you who do not know, I might want to give you a little history on some pieces of my resume as far as how did I get here today. I started working with Washtenaw County, I think it was in the 90s. And the first position that I had in the 90s was a temporary position in administration. And at that time, there were two administrators, Saul and Howard. There were two assistant administrators, and I was just temporarily at the front desk. So those of you who know Washtenaw County, the administration office is the top of the county. So that's where I started. That's where all the county commissioners came to have their monthly or weekly meetings. But everything that happened countywide, everything went through administration. And like I said, that was my first encounter. So I am very aware of county commissioners, county administrators, and what they do from that office. Next, I moved to over to Towner, 555 Towner. And I was in a position at that time with the Substance Abuse Coordinating Agency. I've also worked with public health back when HIV/AIDS came out, and I was a AIDS counselor. However, I did the presentations for the premarital classes. I also went out in the community at that time when we were giving condoms and information to people right where they were. From there, let's see, I worked with employment and training, and I was a case manager. So at that time, I got a chance to meet many people from the community who were looking for education and employment. Years passed, and then the development of the Work First program. The center over on Harriet Street was the location where we ran the Work First program. And before, let's say, actually doing the remodel of that, the county took over the whole building and did a remodel. And there were two buildings left. And one was WCC for education. And then there was a restaurant, which was Biggie's at the end. And that was for people who might have wanted to go. The plan was for people who might have wanted to go into a restaurant. So I've been a long time resident in Washtenaw County in capacities of helping the people with services in Washtenaw County, and especially Ypsilanti. I did learn, however, that The one-stop center was on the south side of Ypsilanti. And very quickly, I learned that those were the people that received the least amount of information that came down from the county government. And one of the things that I remember telling my staff always is each and every person that walks through that door, our job is to be a servant to them. And each one will be treated with dignity and respect. That has always been my motto. And I see that just because a person lives in an area, because they may not look what is considered acceptable in other eyes, we make judgments on people that we don't know their story. That is what I call judgmental. By looking at someone and believing in their mind that they are not worthy. But until you take some time and hear some stories of how people are in situations that they're in, you don't know. And until you come and walk with me through a community, you may learn some things. Because just because we may look good on the outside, we may have a master's degree, a PhD. That's just could be the outside looking good and acceptable, but it's inside a person's spirit that matters. We judge people by where they live. The city of Ypsilanti, there were great people that came out of Ypsilanti. It was because of racism where people could not cross Michigan Avenue. The Black people were just in a certain mile radius. When I asked the question, I said, does anybody know John Barfield, who was a Black man, who was a janitor at U of M, who worked hard, was kind, that he was a first self-made billionaire. He came from the south side of Ypsilanti. So we can never judge what greatness comes from an area. So that was just a little history. Now I'd like to begin I talk about Ypsi Can I Share and how was it birthed? I realized that many people of color did not know anything about voting. And I can raise my hand and say, that was me. Because it wasn't talked about in my household, the importance of voting. I didn't have the knowledge nor the education. I didn't seek what I didn't know at that time. And I remember going to the polls and knowing that I was just supposed to vote for the Democrat president. I remember looking at the signs, and it was me that saw the largest sign and thought that was the best person. Little did I know then. So when I started at the Democratic Party in Washtenaw County, I was just a fill-in. And Ann Brown asked me, would I come and sit at the registration table because she could not make the obligation. And I said, sure. But at that time, I knew very little when I first came. And I would greet people with kindness. Each and every person that walked through the door, whether you were an elected official or just someone from the community coming in. Good morning, welcome. Sign your sheet. And that's how I began to learn about the true politics in Washtenaw County. And I listened and I watched and I asked questions and I listened and I watched and I asked questions so that I would then gain the knowledge. And I wondered, why were there only the same people coming to the meetings? So we would invite people to come. And it was a great opportunity that I saw because people who come in for the first time, those are your guests. And I noticed there were many elected officials who were there and they were talking, having conversations with one another, but not with the guests. It's the guests that we need to show you're welcome. And what can we all do together? So one of my charges, I would say, is what are we doing? What are we doing, Washtenaw County, to really reach out to communities? People in the community that are, I call, purposely excluded. Because people on the eastern side of the county, they don't get information. And there's quite a few people in Ann Arbor that don't get information. So I remember when Donald Trump was running, and I needed to know what could I do? What could we do? And I remember writing to John Lewis and asking for a letter, just so that I could use the letter to empower people and say, I'm here and I didn't know, but now I know. But if these people, if John Lewis took beatings, hosed, beaten, jailed, if he did it and he's still fighting, just because we've lost our way, we owe it to each and every person to have a right to vote. So then I realized, who are our elected officials? What do we know? So I created the empowerment card because Ypsilanti has 4 different jurisdictions, but people don't know that. We just know Ypsilanti. And I listed everyone's who was an elected official with their name, with their phone number, with their email. Because more than not, most people don't know that information. People who live it, breathe it every day They know it like the back of their hands. But that doesn't mean the community knows. So then I realized when we went online to see if people could find who their elected officials are, there is no place, not one place, that will tell you who are your elected officials are. So what did that mean? It meant in my mind, in the technology of today, they were purposely excluded. Because if we wanted people to know who their elected officials are with the technology we have, you should be able to click on a button, put your address in, and know every single representative. So that's when I really recognized, well, there's some exclusion here. Because certainly in 2020, 2018, 19, we had the ability to put a one-stop shopping where you would find who is your county commissioner. Most people don't even know who their county commissioner is, that they're representing them. They're making decisions for people with the money. They hold the purse strings for the county. But if you don't know who they are, you surely can't come and talk to them to explain what their needs, to tell them, for the people to tell them, I need this. This is what's happening to me. So that means one challenge I have for everyone. Try to put your address in. Somebody that you know that lives in Ypsilanti, and tell me how long it takes you to try to find out every single elected official that we have on our empowerment card. You'll get frustrated and you will quit before you find. So sometimes if we care and we want people to know who their elected officials are, because certainly flippantly we say, call your elected officials. Well, if you can't find them and don't know who they are, how you gonna call them? So I challenge you to look and see. And please, if anyone can find it in one spot, please let me know. And I would stand to be corrected. And my team would also, because we have looked in every place and space and could not find one. Next, I'd like to go to a little bit of uncomfortableness. As you can see, I am a Black woman. I do understand racism. I do understand when I walk into a room, when I'm being judged and looked at, and no smiles to say, who is she? Because you looked at the color of my skin and made a decision that I wasn't worthy. Black people know when they're being excluded, when racism, a racist person, you may be saying what sounds good, but that's not what your actions say. I've taken several people on a journey. As Ellie Sabat said, he knows. I took him into Ypsilanti. He saw that the people in Ypsilanti are not thugs, nobodies, people on welfare trying to steal from the government. He saw that Ypsilanti was a very, very nice place. But the media would tell you it's nothing but killing and shooting and drugs. The first slide that I showed was a series of concerts that Johnny Lawrence did for the entire summer in Ypsilanti. There were excess of 5,000 people in Ypsilanti, Frog Island. No incident, no shooting, just people having a good time and listening to some music. The next slide was Park Ridge Summerfest, Joe Doolin Day. And once again, that was on the 28th. Many Black people come and visit that grew up there. There were vendors. There were all of OCED organized, all of the nonprofits and just information tables. There was music, there was dancing. There were free hot dogs, chips, and a drink for people who didn't have money to buy, but you could just come. So if you really don't know about Ypsilanti, it's not what you read in the paper. And there are many wonderful people in Ypsilanti. So the stigma we might need to change. I'm gonna go a little bit now. It might prick you, but everyone knows that Gail tells the truth. I'm not gonna lie to you. I remember when Donald Trump came on the scene, and I was going into Kroger's on Michigan Avenue, and there was a white man in a truck, and he said, "Quit walking so slow, nigger." Yes, he called me a nigger. I realized the tone and the time had changed because I hadn't been called a nigger in a long time. But that was a warning for me as a Black woman. What I realized as we just sat back and watched, I'm gonna go to our first, Ypsi Can I Share, our first. What did we had our first video, privilege versus privilege. See, at Ypsi Can I Share, it doesn't take a long time to get something together. I wrote the date down. I wrote the date down because they stormed Lansing, April 30th. with the guns and the noise and the taunting, but these were white people. They weren't black. They were white. Now, I already knew as a Black woman, if they had been Black, we would have had all kind of police and National Guards and whoever to get rid of these Black people. But these were white people. So I had a Zoom with every single person that was in the Capitol building at that time. And I wanted to ask the question, how did it make you feel? What did it feel like when you could hear them outside the door? The rumbling. And on that video, each person shared how they felt, the fear, the trauma. At that time, Felicia Brayback, psychologist, I asked her to speak to trauma. Now you can go to Ypsi Can I Share website.com and view the video and listen to what the people said. Michigan was the first stop. They had to test the waters. And what happened? Nothing. Nothing happened. And that's why we got to January 6th. Because there were white people against white people. But if you had asked the Black people, we would have told you how to handle January 6th.
Gail, I just want to, there's 7 minutes left in the meeting, so.
Okay. So just to wrap up, I have one last request. And that is to look at the Black people who have died. Look at the Black people who have died in Ypsilanti. COVID was a hot spot. We received money in this county because of our hotspot numbers. Privilege took the first vaccines. And left the Blacks to fend for themselves. Testing. We wonder why we're here today. I am on Biden's clergy and community advocates because they realize that it's people in the community that are trusted that are the messengers for the people who are the underserved. I ask you today to look at the money that the Board of Commissioners are about to give out and ask me if it's fair and equitable. Is it fair and equitable to give the money for the Blacks that suffer in Ypsilanti, to give it to the West Side? Ask yourself that. If you have a heart that can feel, think about all the people that died, that are gone because we got to them too late. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do you want me to show the last PowerPoint slide?
Yes, please.
So I don't know if you want to speak to that or
That is just a call to action. That is a call of questioning. That is, ask yourself, if you believe that all people of color and people who are economically disadvantaged don't matter, then please step up and say something. If you don't believe that this is true, what I've said, please don't come to Black areas and ask for them to vote. It's what you do that's important. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we have a lot to think about.